Welcome back in, guys, to King Josiah TV, guys. Welcome into the live. Happy New Year to everybody, guys. But before we get into the episode, you guys know we're going to do our intro. Thank you guys for, again, welcome into King Josiah TV, where this channel was created to educate, promote, and influence the kingdom of Jesus Christ in this world. I am your host, Josiah, as an ambassador. Guys, before we get started, I need you to do me a huge favor. If you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and smash the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the like button if you're listening audibly on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Go ahead and give me that follow button, guys. Let's go ahead and roll right into today's show.
Watch giants fall like Goliath. David, I dance. This ain't no tick-tock. God told me that my steps was ordered. Walking in flip-flops. Chris Rock, how they laughed at me.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about Maverick City. So Maverick City, they just recently did a sit-down interview on their podcast with Ruslan. Again, Ruslan, another dude, one of my favorite Christian podcasters. We cover a lot of his material here. He sat down and had a conversation with them, and they were talking about how they present themselves in the world. Very similar to what we were just talking about with Kurt Franklin, how they present themselves in the world when it comes to like jewelry and how flashy they look and stuff like that. And if anybody's been on my Instagram, my social media, I wear jewelry. I dress nice, I wear Jordans and stuff like that, which there's nothing wrong with that, but there's got to be a line that we've got to cross there, that we don't want how we present ourselves, again, to be outshining God, to be outshining the gospel. So let's go ahead and bring this up, guys, here without further ado. Just a moment. All right, guys, and for time's sake, this is going to be sped up a little bit, guys, because I want us to be able to get through. This is like a 10-minute clip, but there's just so much in here. I wanted to play the full thing, so it's going to be split up just a little bit, guys.
What do you guys think? I'd like to hear from all y'all. What do y'all think the biggest misconception about Maverick City is?
The misconception about Maverick City is that people are judging us based on what they would do if they were us. And what America as a whole doesn't have a great representation of what a successful Black person looks like. So just give me a second here. When you said it brilliantly, you said it honestly, you said it authentically. You said the flashy dudes on Instagram, right? I don't really see us as that flashy, because I know people of my same level of influence that are far more flashy than me. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to have some diamond necklaces instead of a big house on a golf course. I don't value a house on a golf course. I don't have a boat, but I know a guy in our industry who has a 102-foot yacht, but he don't wear that much jewelry. It's because culturally, how we spend our money.
He's right here, but I don't like how he's pushing that narrative, because he's right. Black people, we like flashy stuff. We're going to buy jewelry. We're going to buy chains. We're going to buy nice cars. We like flash. We're going to buy the Louis, and we want it to look, we want our fly to appear where our status is. That I agree with, but to generalize it down to a color, that I don't agree with.
And how we exhibit wealth and what we take interest in is different than most people that have affluence in this sphere. So there are a few things about us that are just off-putting, for the simple fact of, hey man, I don't know anybody that's saved that walks around with that much jewelry on, or Rolex, or Craig Rochelle wears regular shoes, But I mean, you ever seen his lake house? You know what I mean? Like, you don't. There is an understanding of a way to be wealthy and to be Christian. That is one of the huge misconceptions of Maverick, that we look like a certain thing to Christians because they don't really have an alternative parallel as executives, right? So as a Black executive in Christian music, I mean, you don't really have an idea of one, especially one that has crossed over and is now permeating a space that was all white, and I'm not making this a race thing. To me, it's just a cultural difference. It's a cultural preferential difference, because the simple fact, hey, it's America. Yep. Most people haven't. I mean, most Black.
I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying. Just because we're Black, that our only representation is a certain way. And he's gonna bring up here and say in a second that we don't have other representation out there to show us how wealthy Black people should be, how wealthy Christian Black people should be. And there's plenty of examples. There's plenty of people out there. I follow a lot of them on social media that are Christians and wealthy and are not flashy. They might dress nice, they might go nice places, but they are well-to-do, well-off people that are not so outward with their status. So I don't entirely agree with this statement that we don't have other examples, because I believe we do.
people have sat down and had dinner with a white person at their house, and vice versa. And so when you get down to how that permeates Maverick City, well, I mean, it's pretty much at its core that people saw us as money hungry after doing this for the fame, doing this for the fortune, doing this for the doing this for any reason other than to spread the gospel, right? Like they are in this for they're in this for the money. But we have a nonprofit called the God Problems Fund where we give away far more than 10% of the money that we make a year. And that's just not so. We have been big on not pushing forward the things that we do. And that was for various reasons. We didn't want to take the shine off of what God was doing. We wanted that to let that be enough. And we just got to a point that we felt if we don't tell people the truth, it'll never be known. So
can I give a little bit, context? So so just something to think about. I think you're totally right in that I know quite a few folks in the business entrepreneur space, and all of them got Rolexes and jewelry, right? And they're Christians and they love Jesus. I think that what makes it sometimes different is that when it's so connected to something that is ministry, that people have trouble deciphering that. And so it just looks like my man Ryan Panetta. I mean, he got the illest watch collection, and the dude's doing $20 million a year, and he does some Christian stuff too. But he's a real estate mogul, right? People don't look at him the same as they look at you or you because it's so intertwined with the ministry aspect. People look at me, and I'm not saying I'm anywhere near what you guys have been able to accomplish, but in a similar like, oh, it's so intertwined with ministry. And so the folks in some of my circles, we've just been like, look, we're not posting our cars, we're not like you see me in some nice shoes, and that's it. You don't know where I live, you don't know what my house looks like, you don't know because it just creates an unnecessary like.
And that's something that I'm on more of Ruslan's tip. Like, I definitely agree with him that the section of ministry that you're in, being a music artist, yeah, I will say you do look different than an entrepreneur that's a Christian, or a Christian that is a podcaster, or a Christian that, whatever section you want to put it into, they do get looked at a little different. I give him that. But again, when I say I'm on Ruslan's tip, is that Ruslan is saying, hey, we might show, our outfits, we might show, certain things, cars or certain things like that, but we're not going to be showing you where we live. We're not going to be showing you all the businesses we own. We're not going to be getting into all of that because, as he just said, it starts distracting from the gospel when you're showing all that you have, everything that you built and all that. And all you need to do is present the gospel and yourself. And I do believe sometimes people are drawn in by what they see because they see your dresses. And I'm going to get to this in a second. They see how you dress. They see how you present yourself, especially young people. And that's what initially draws them in, which isn't inherently a bad thing, but your motive shouldn't be behind that.
Questioning of motives instead of seeing someone's heart. It's, again, especially when they don't have this context of it.
Absolutely.
This is what I'm saying. Like I'm giving it to you guys. Like, you guys are taking the narrative back. But that is one of those variables that I think is missing. You know what I mean? Is that the context of this may give people a different perspective, similar to my guy Ryan Panetta, who's
I mean, the reality, not to JJ, me and JJ talk about this all the time. I said, brother, that at some point we have to normalize what diverse wealth looks like in different communities. This is simply, I grew up in the Deep South. I grew up in the country. This is what I saw. I don't know. I mean, I could attempt to learn, to appease, to assimilate to something that may be more comfortable to someone else. I didn't grow up around wealthy church people. So when, I'm a businessman. Yes, I'm a businessman. I was a marketing CEO, millionaire before I was ever involved in anything. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I do want to give you props though, because I do feel like what you guys know, this is the flip side, is there is a need for young men to see the aspirational. Right. And so if they don't got you guys, and I just don't want to deal with the hassle of showing what car I drive. I don't want to deal with that.
I think you have that, and I'm not going to. I think you have that. You have that option as a white man in the United States of America. They have enough other examples. Young,
bruh, stop with that. Like that's one thing I was watching this, and this one thing that irritated me is like he keeps playing the black card. Just because Ruslan even white. He's from somewhere like in Turkey or something like that. But anyways, he's not straight up white. Like, stop playing the black card. He doesn't have that option just because he's black, just because he's white. And just because you're black doesn't give you the license. Or, I mean, just because you're black, you have to present yourself a certain way. You have to be seen a certain way, that he has the ability to get away with that. No, you do not need to show, as a record executive of a Christian artist, you do not need to show yourself a certain way. No, bro, you want to show yourself that way. That's who you are. That's how you like presenting yourself. Just say it as it is. I just want to read a verse actually that speaks on that. Before we get a little deeper in this, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. Philippians 2:3. And that's what I believe this speaks to, is don't be doing anything out of your own vain desires. Other people are watching you. Again, all eyes are on us. No one around us should be able to speak evil of us because of our works as believers.
White boy. They have enough other examples that they can aspire to that can show them ways of living and inspiring that are safe.
Yes.
If I were to ask anyone to name 10 African American or diverse entrepreneurs that don't play sports, there's nothing wrong with playing sports, that don't sing, that don't rap, that are not actors, and give me 10 of those as examples to young black men today that don't live illegal lives or lives of
we're gonna skip that a little bit, guys.
So I say that to say,
like, invite them to the show, invite them to hang out. So I mean, it's just like,
And it will be just a segment of people that don't feel like Christians should have anything nice. And that's like those, we can't even, you know what I'm saying? We can't even try to persuade those people. But yeah, that's good. That's a great point. Misconceptions about what you guys do.
That this is about anything other than Jesus. Yeah, I think that's the biggest misconception that I wanted to dispel. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here, at least. I just want people to know that this is connected to purpose, and the purpose is spreading the gospel. If, at the end of my life, as we talked about this earlier, standing before the Lord, I want to give an account that I used all of the resources, all of the energy, all of the platforms to make him famous and to point people towards him. And so I think giving a space to talk about some of the decisions we made, to talk about the way we even think about why we do certain things, helps people to understand that, man, this is not about anything other than Jesus. Yeah.
Misconception. I mean, I think I echo a lot of what's been said already, but I think a common one is that Maverick City, this entire movement, should be held to the same standard as people have seen in the industry to date. Because I think Maverick City has proven itself to be an anomaly. And that doesn't mean that you throw the standard out. It just means that maybe the standard wasn't actually the standard. Maybe as finitely as we as an industry were thinking about what was possible, we also limited what should exist, how it should look, who should do it, what form it should take. And we evolve as, and I'm not saying evolve without restraint. I'm just saying we grow and expand in our understanding of what's possible when we see things.
It's good. I feel like I hijacked your whole podcast.
Like I said, I believe like when he says like, the standard has to change and the standard isn't the same. No, the standard has always been the same. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter what section of time that we're in. God's word remains the same. We should always be watchful of how we present ourselves, even if your group is an anomaly, as he said. I just want to read again from 1 Peter. Beloved, I beg you as sojourners and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul, having your conduct honorable among the Gentiles, that they speak against you as evildoers, they may by your good works which they observe glorify God in the day of visitation. Again, everything that we do, no one, whether they be believers, whether they be non-believers, should look at how we're presenting ourselves, how we're viewed, how we're putting things out into the world and be like, what are you? Who are you standing with? But you're doing this. We have to be mindful of that. We have to stop being so arrogant that we're not willing to take corrective criticism from other believers or even from the world, because that's really what it is. You're being so arrogant that you can't take the corrective criticism. You can't be chastised. Again, what I was saying with Kurt Franklin, correction comes and judgment comes within the church. God is going to judge the ones outside of the church. Us inside of the church that are judging you, that are coming at you, you need to learn to be discipled, learn to be mentored, learn to take correction, and stop looking at it as people just attacking you and looking at it as maybe this is a way that you need to refine your ministry. Maybe this is a way that you need to refine how you're being viewed and perceived to the world. Because if you're getting this big of influx, it isn't because you're an anomaly. It's because maybe there's something that you're presenting that the world is seeing that's not coming off as who you say you are. For watching the King Josiah TV podcast, if you're listening audibly on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and hit the follow button. If you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and hit me the subscribe. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you guys again next week.
My salvation on me like it's a helmet. The way it's to sin is death, for send you to hell quick. Wanted to be all about me, God, I was selfish. I was